Trump's authorization for the Central Intelligence Agency to conduct covert operations inside Venezuela is legally shaky on multiple fronts. Under U.S. law, covert actions are regulated by Title 50, Section 3093 of the U.S. Code, which allows a president to authorize such missions only if they are necessary to support identifiable foreign policy goals and vital to national security. The president must issue a written finding to that effect and notify the Congressional Intelligence Committees. If that step is skipped or misrepresented, the authorization should be deemed outside the legal bounds. The problem here is transparency. The administration has not publicly confirmed that Congress has received any proper notification or proper findings, nor has he explained the operational scope or oversight mechanisms to Congress. Once covert actions involve lethal force, such as the U.S. naval and airstrikes on suspected Venezuelan drug boats, the issue moves beyond intelligence law into the War Powers Resolution, which limits unilateral presidential use of force without congressional approval. Now, this administration defends these operations by framing them as counter-narcotics missions against terrorist-like organizations such as Tren de Aragua, claiming they threaten U.S. security and justifies immediate action. Now, the obvious counter to that is that drug trafficking does not meet and has never met the definition of an armed attack under either domestic U.S. law or international law, and therefore cannot trigger self-defense powers. If that were the case, every country on earth would be fighting against every other country that potentially traffics deadly drugs into their country. And the fact of the matter is Venezuela is not the only country that does this. And actually, Argentina, who is getting aid from us, has drug trafficking in the United States as well. Now, the 1973 War Powers Act requires the president to report any hostilities within 48 hours and withdraw forces after 60 days without congressional authorization. And as I said, to date, no such notification has officially been reported. And because of that, it's becoming more and more apparent that the executive branch is exceeding its constitutional authority by bypassing the legislative check intended to prevent undeclared wars. International law that we have signed on to also plays a part. Article 2 of the United Nations Charter prohibits the use of force against another state's territorial integrity or political independence. The only recognized exceptions are Security Council approval or self-defense under Article 51. Meanwhile, Venezuela has not consented to U.S. operations, and Washington has not sought UN authorization, nor is this self-defense. This is not some military coming in and attacking us. This is a drug problem that is a matter for the police. Unless the United States can prove imminent armed threats are coming from Venezuela or Venezuelan actors, the strikes constitute a violation of Venezuelan sovereignty. Human rights laws, both inside the United States and outside the United States, apply in this case because they forbid extrajudicial killings outside of an active armed conflict. This is not a named active conflict. Civilian deaths, which there have been some 27 overall, show that this potentially has both domestic and international legal claims as violating human rights laws. Supporters of Trump's approach continue to argue that previous administrations like Obama used similar frameworks for drone strikes and counterterrorism raids, but those actions rested more on explicit congressional authorizations. And frankly, some of those drone strikes, including those against American citizens, that was unconstitutional as well. So just throwing Obama in our face is not going to work for me. That was wrong then. It's wrong now. But in this case, there is zero clear evidence, notification, or legal basis for the deployment of the CIA and U.S. firepower towards Venezuelan targets. And all of this violates clear U.S. constitutional constraints and core principles of international law. But as we all know, those types of things don't matter to the Trump administration.